When someone is taken from us so young, we look for explanations. We look for signs of comfort. We look for somebody to blame. We look to lash out. If you haven't heard already today, Charlie Kirk, founder of Turning Point USA, conservative thought leader, radio host, and so much more. That doesn't do it justice. Was assassinated today while doing what he does best, talking to people he disagreed with, having conversations with people who disagreed with him at a college campus in Utah. I've unfortunately seen too many young people taken for too many different reasons. And there's one thing that sometimes brings me comfort. In my religion, in Judaism, we believe in the resurrection of souls. And we believe that the soul you have likely had other lives before. And some of those lives were taken too young. And a person didn't get to finish the business that they had in this world before God wanted them back. And sometimes sends them back for a brief period of time so they can do what God wanted them to do. That's the only thing that gives me comfort when somebody's taken this young. Charlie Kirk was a champion of America. He was a champion of Judeo-Christian values. And he was blessed. It sounds kind of trite to say, but us Jews have a saying, those who bless us will be blessed. And somebody says, a guy who was so pro-Israel, a guy who was so pro-Jewish, a guy who was so anti-Semitism, a guy who fought against it as if he was a Jew, would you call this blessed? Assassinated at the age of 31? And to them I say, it's not the assassination. It's the life that he led. He started Turning Point USA when he was 18 years old. He was 18 years old. Millions of people around the world have been influenced by his videos, have been influenced by his speeches, have been influenced by his writings, have been influenced by his radio show. My family chats today where my kids, my nieces, my nephews, all talking about it. My father was telling me about my sister, what she was saying about it. He led a blessed life. He had a beautiful wife, 2 beautiful kids. And think of how much he accomplished in those short years, 18 to 31. He did everything he did. This is a guy who changed the course of elections. This is a guy who helped change the course of American history. And this is a guy who I was fortunate enough to meet one time. We're waiting on the press conference that's about to start in Utah. As soon as the press conference, which is going to be by law enforcement officials on the deadly shooting, on the assassination of Charlie Kirk, as soon as it starts, we'll go live to it, so you don't have to change the channel. We'll have everything here for you. But in the meantime, here's the theme of the show today. The theme of the show today is we're going to do what Charlie Kirk did. Any topic you want, any topic you want, you can call us, you can text us, especially if you disagree with us or if you disagree with Charlie. As long as we can have that discussion respectfully, we're going to do what Charlie did. We're going to discuss the issues. John Rocker was a pitcher for the Atlanta Braves, and he had the tweet of the day today. John Rocker I don't have a high opinion of, especially as a Mets fan, and he's said some crazy stuff in his life. But he had the tweet of the day today, which is why it has 422,000 likes on it. All Charlie Kirk did was have a respectful dialogue with people he disagreed with. And that's what we're going to do today. So if you want to have an issue you want to discuss, you give us a call, you give us a text, and we'll discuss that issue. That's what we're going to do today because that's what Charlie was about. when I interviewed Charlie Kirk at Turning Point USA, it was my first year on radio, and it was the first time I was at Turning Point USA. And I was fortunate enough to get to interview Charlie as my first guest. Mike can swear by this, that my first few months being a radio host, I was a little out of my depth. There's a learning curve on this. Even though I'd been talking my whole life, and even though I'd run for office, it's Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk's coming to my table and coming to sit with me. So at Turning Point USA, the way it was set up was it was our first year, and they were being very welcoming of us. And the way the radio row was it was Fox News, and we were right behind Fox News, which meant that anytime somebody was going in for their interview on Fox News, they walked right past our booth, and me or young Zach, who was just an intern at the time, going to UW, and one of us would say, "Hey, you got a minute? Can you come on by?" Charlie Kirk was arranged in advance. I had spoken to Turning Point USA. I said I'd love to have Charlie Kirk on my show. And when he came with an entourage, and not his security entourage. He came with an entourage of people who just wanted to follow him around and hear what he had to say. Tons of people. For 20 minutes at that Turning Point USA conference, the Ari Hoffman show was the most popular booth at the place. It was surreal. And so I planned in advance. Okay, I'm getting Charlie Kirk. We're going to talk about politics, and we're going to talk about how much the Democrats suck and how awesome the Republicans are, and yeah. And then he saw the yarmulke on my head. He saw the kippah on my head. And he goes, "You're Jewish." I said, yes, I am. And he started talking to me about his most recent trip to Israel. And it was always funny the way Charlie Kirk spoke, trying to use the Hebrew that he knew, the limited Hebrew, but it was the most secular sounding Hebrew ever, that I'm trying not to laugh while at the same time being so appreciative of the fact that he actually knew those words. It's not common to know some of these words, but he was trying his absolute best. And he wanted to talk about his trip, and he wanted to talk about Judeo-Christian values, and he wanted to talk about everything he loved about the Jews and about Israel and Christianity and Jesus and you name it. He wanted to talk about all of it. And as we were talking, he was discussing his time in the Old City, and my son had just gotten to yeshiva, Jewish seminary there. And I mentioned, my son goes to school in the Old City. "Oh, where does your son go?" "Oh, he went to a yeshiva called..." "Oh, my God, I know that place. It's right here. It's right there. I know it. It's right by the entrance to this, and you walk down this thing." And he wasn't just saying it. He knew it. My son's school was a little off the beaten path, not exactly a place you'd find easily. He knew it. He knew what he was talking about. And we had a whole discussion about Judeo-Christian values and what they meant with politics. It was not the interview I had planned. It was not. But it was better than I ever could have hoped for. Right now, poor Mike. We had that hack years ago, and it took out a whole bunch of our stuff. I have him looking for it now, but we haven't had much luck finding the thing because a hack took out all our servers, took out all our stuff, and I think it was long before we did video streaming, which I think is the reason we're having trouble finding this thing. Charlie Kirk changed the course of American history. And by changing the course of American history, he changed the course of world history. Think of all the good that has happened on the international stage because President Trump has been elected. Charlie Kirk made it his mission to get President Trump elected in Arizona. That was the state he really, really took on, in addition to everything else he did. And Charlie, there's a great video on social media that you can see where Charlie Kirk, as soon as he hears that Trump won the election, he was doing his election night coverage, that I don't want to say character because he was legit. The person you see in those video interviews, that's who he was. But the facade of not facade, that's the wrong word too, but all the poise and everything kind of evaporated out of his body, and this relief swept over him, and he just hung his head in relief and excitement and joy when he found out that his work had gotten President Trump elected. Think of the people that are now influencing politics because of Turning Point USA. Think of all the kids that want to be more active in their communities, but not just in politics. Because Charlie Kirk ran events about Turning Point USA faith. They're now more active in their churches. They're now more active in their synagogues. They're more active in their places of worship, their houses of worship. And I remember I went to hear Charlie speak at a speech here locally, at a church here locally. This was 2-3 years ago. And he gave one of the best Jewish speeches I've ever heard in my life. And he was just quoting the Old Testament. And I use it all the time. And people go, I always cite him. But they always come after me afterwards and they always say, Ari, it's amazing to me you got that from Charlie Kirk and not from a rabbi. And I've used it on the show before. He was talking about how clearly we were built on Judeo-Christian values. Clearly we were. And you know this because of the Liberty Bell. What does it say on the Liberty Bell? Proclaim liberty throughout the land. And it's from Leviticus, Vayikra. Charlie said, he said something to the effect of, these guys knew the book in and out. There was no Google back then. There was no internet back then. They had to know the book in and out, and they picked something from Leviticus? The most, I don't think he used the word boring, but I'm going to say boring book out of the 5 books, the most detail-oriented about sacrifices and laws and all that, and they knew that's where the quote, we want on the bell for our new country that's going above our Capitol and Independence Hall. We want it from Leviticus. We want God in everything. And that's exactly what they did. But they also didn't want to alienate anybody because they said this is a place for all religions. That's why we have freedom of religion. Some people may have a different God. What's your God? You come here. That's why it says God. But what's your God? Proclaim liberty throughout all the land. And that's what we have. And that's what Charlie fought so hard for, freedom of speech. Watching the reaction of so many on the left is not unexpected, but nauseating. It's vile. It's wretched. Because a person's dead. Feel free to call me out on this if I've ever done the same thing, because I know I haven't. When somebody on the left dies, even somebody we don't like, we always at least wait a day or two before discussing their legacy. Always. And the first day, we're very sad for their family, and we always do that, even when, like, Jimmy Carter died. The fact that people couldn't wait a second, not a second, before bashing him. I got this from my father today. My father texted me. My sister's in college at City University of New York. And my father sent this over to me today. He's talking about my sister Adina. The first words Adina heard today on campus about Charlie Kirk is, I'm glad that fascist is dead. Sickening. Nauseating. And be one thing if it's some lunatic idiot college kid. Or seeing members of the media doing the exact same thing. Members of the media were celebrating today. They were drooling over it today. And I'm disgusted to my core with some of the stuff I have seen today. Not just on social media, but elsewhere. I'm in fact shaken with people I had a little bit of respect for beforehand, that now I'm a little shaken to my core about when you see who they really, really are. And maybe it's awkwardness, maybe it's not knowing what to say, and maybe I'll give him benefit of the doubt for that. But the thing about Charlie was that when you walked away from a conversation with him, you felt like he was your best friend. You felt like he was your best friend. And that's why it's hurting so many people so hard. If you're watching Fox today, you see all the anchors crying and tearing up. And it's because he was their friend. He was on all the time. They saw him all the time. All the people in the radio world are friends with him. This is their friend who was killed. And even from one conversation with the guy, I don't want to make it sound like we were best friends or we talked all the time, but the post-millennial who I write for, it's the same ownership group as Human Events with Jack Posobiec. It's the same group that has a lot to do with his show. And everybody's crying. Everybody's beside themselves. Because we all feel like, even if we barely knew the guy, we all feel like we lost a friend because that's the kind of guy he was. But how many people these days knew him just from social media? But he changed the way they thought about politics, or he changed the way they thought about religion, or he changed their worldview, or they just found him funny. It is a tragedy of immeasurable proportions. And it's something where when you look at how he was taken in such a violent, evil fashion, there's almost nothing to say. But we got a 3-hour show to do today, which is why I am saying, if you want to call in and have a discussion about anything political, anything we usually talk about, you give us a call at 206-421-5757, or you give us a text at 206-421-5757. I got a message earlier today, and this is from our frenemy, Bennett, the protester. And I told him to post part of this online because this is somebody who was clearly in opposition to Charlie Kirk, but he said something. He says, I met him when he came to UW last year and wanted to debate people and took some questions from me outside the event. And he said he had his big pipe rig as usual with his signs. That's Bennett. If you know Bennett, he goes to these protests. He's got his big sign thing. So he spotted me right away. And even though, of course, we disagreed about almost everything, I have some reasonably nice things I could say about him. How many people don't even want to have the conversation? Bennett is a perfect example. And I know he's listening because he listens every day. But Bennett's the perfect example that even though he disagreed probably on everything with Charlie Kirk, yet you left with a positive interaction with him. And that's something that is rare. It's also something I had to learn. Look, me, I'm fire and brimstone. Those of you who listen to the show, you know I'm fire and brimstone. And not everybody has a positive interaction after calling with me, but maybe that's something I need to work on with myself. Maybe that's something I need to work on, where I say I need to be more like Charlie. Because Charlie came from a place of truly wanting to hear what the other person said. The South Park episode. The South Park episode where they had Cartman literally doing the Charlie Kirk impression with the microphone, with the water, with the everything. It was so true, but that's who Charlie was, and he had a good time with it. He could make fun of himself. Somebody was asking me what this was like, and I said, for the right, this is like, I don't want to, it's cheap to compare it to this. I don't want to say that, but think of somebody who you think was like a major world opinion thing. I don't know, a Malcolm X kind of thing, where this was a person who shaped things. I may not agree with anything Malcolm X even said, but you look at something like that and you go, this is a person who led a movement, who changed the course of history, who changed thoughts, who changed minds. And look what he did in such a short amount of time. We say something in my world, which is, Baruch Dayan Emet. Blessed is the one true judge. That's what we say when somebody dies. The other thing we say is, may you be comforted among the mourners of Zion. The other thing we say, when it's under violent circumstances, is, may Hashem, may God, avenge their blood. And that doesn't mean go out in the streets and riot. We're not the other side. It doesn't mean go out in the streets and be violent against anybody. It means bring that person to justice. When you do it in Charlie's name, when you go out there in Charlie's name, it's about doing what Charlie did, which is having those conversations, because we don't have them enough anymore with people we disagree with. How many people from the other side refuse to come on this show because they don't even want to have the conversation? This is something that is absolutely breaking my heart right now. Breaking my heart. After October 7th, I remember my kids, one of them was in tears because they came to me and they said, Dad, Charlie Kirk's on our side. Charlie Kirk's defending us to the world. I'm getting choked up even thinking about it right now. Having somebody like Charlie, who had such influence and who used it to the best of his ability to be a positive change, a positive force, bring people together for conversation, to be taken in such a violent way. People want revenge. People want to lash out. People want to start fights. People want to riot. We don't do what the other side does. They try to claim that we do. We don't. They haven't found the shooter yet. We're waiting for the press conference right now. When the press conference goes live, we will bring it to you. President Trump has ordered all flags to be flown at half-mast in the country because we lost a leader. And something that really sickened me today was, you think maybe people can take a second. Maybe people can take a second to just say somebody's dead and let's mourn them, and then we'll go back to fighting tomorrow. Today, in the House of Representatives, Lauren Boebert called for a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk. Here's what happened.
Those in the gallery, please rise for a moment of prayer for Charlie Kirk and his family. For what purpose does the gentlelady from Colorado rise?
So what you're hearing is she's trying to say, I want a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk, and the Democrats were objecting. Does that hurt you at all, to have a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk? How does that hurt you? We mourned Jimmy Carter when he died. Talked about his achievements before talking about what else he did to the world. We have lost a giant today. And even people on the left don't realize it. Don't realize how much he influenced their lives. They couldn't wait to beat up on him. Couldn't wait till the body was cold while people were praying. They're demonizing us for praying, and that's the difference. We didn't call for riots in the streets. We didn't call for attacks. We called for prayer. That's what we do. Called for prayer. So today, if you want to have any political discussion whatsoever, we'll bring you the latest news. We'll bring you the press conference when we get it. We'll bring you everything we possibly can. But for today, any political discussion you want to have, you give us a call, you give us a text, especially if you disagree with us. 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. We're going to take a short commercial break right now, and when we come back, we'll go to the phones, we'll go to your calls, we'll go to your texts, because holy cow, there's a lot of them right now. And we'll bring you the press conference as soon as it goes live in probably about 5 to 7 minutes. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KBI. Welcome back to the Ari Hoffman Show, covering the latest news from the assassination of Charlie Kirk in Utah. Right now, we have your calls. Please stay on the line. Please keep sending us the texts. We're going to jump to the press conference, which is just getting underway from local law enforcement in Utah right now.
Agents and personnel from the Salt Lake Field Office responded immediately. We have full resources devoted to this investigation, including tactical, operational, investigative, and intelligence. To be clear, the FBI will fully support and co-lead this investigation alongside with our partners. We are working on setting up a digital media tip line, and as soon as it's established, we'll get that information out to everyone. I know there's a lot of questions. This is very much an active case, and this investigation is in its early stages. We are following all the leads and all the evidence. If anyone has any information, please report it to the FBI or local law enforcement. Thank you.
On behalf of President Jimenez, who we've been communicating
I just want to
with-
interject here for a second for those of you who might just be joining us. The person who's going on social media that you may have seen as a suspect is not the suspect. It was a person who was detained, and the suspect is still at large. That's what law enforcement is talking about right now. We go back to the press conference.
faculty and staff who bore witness to this unspeakable tragedy. He was invited by the student group Turning Point USA to speak on our campus. We firmly believe that UVU is a place to share ideas and to debate openly and respectfully. Any attempt to infringe on those rights has no place here. We do not condone any form of violence at UVU and seek to make our campus a safe place for all.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on this dark and tragic occasion. I want to thank our law enforcement officers who are leading this investigation, starting with Chief Long and his response here with the UVU Police Department. We're grateful for your leadership and your team. And again, to the speakers that you've just heard from who are co-leading this investigation. I also want to recognize Sheriff Mike Smith, who has been an invaluable partner as this investigation moves forward. I've been in touch with President Trump, with FBI Director Kash Patel. We are completely aligned with our state and federal partners as we work through this case. Now, this is a dark day for our state. It's a tragic day for our nation. And I want to be very clear that this is a political assassination. We are celebrating 250 years of the founding of this great nation. That founding document, the Declaration of Independence, that this great experiment on which we embarked together 250 years ago, that we are endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights. The first one of those is life. And today, the life was taken. Charlie Kirk was first and foremost a husband and a dad to two young children. He was also very much politically involved, and that's why he was here on campus. Charlie believed in the power of free speech and debate to shape ideas and to persuade people. Historically, our university campuses in this nation and here in the state of Utah have been the place where truth and ideas are formulated and debated. And that's what he does. He comes on college campuses and he debates. That is foundational to the formation of our country, to our most basic constitutional rights. And when someone takes the life of a person because of their ideas or their ideals, then that very constitutional foundation is threatened. Now, we have a person of interest in custody. The investigation is ongoing. But I want to make it crystal clear right now to whoever did this, we will find you. We will try you. And we will hold you accountable to the furthest extent of the law. And I just want to remind people that we still have the death penalty here in the state of Utah. Our nation is broken. We've had political assassinations recently in Minnesota. We had an attempted assassination on the governor of Pennsylvania. And we had an attempted assassination on a presidential candidate and former president of the United States, and now current president of the United States. Nothing I say can unite us as a country. Nothing I can say right now can fix what is broken. Nothing I can say can bring back Charlie Kirk. Our hearts are broken. We mourn with his wife, his children, his family, his friends. We mourn as a nation. If anyone in the sound of my voice celebrated even a little bit at the news of this shooting, I would beg you to look in the mirror and to see if you can find a better angel in there somewhere. I don't care what his politics are. I care that he was an American. We desperately need our country. We desperately need leaders in our country. But more than the leaders, we just need every single person in this country to think about where we are and where we want to be. To ask ourselves, is this it? Is this what 250 years has wrought on us? I pray that that's not the case. I pray that those who hated what Charlie Cook stood for will put down their social media and their pens and pray for his family, and that all of us will try to find a way to stop hating our fellow Americans. With that, we're happy to take a few questions.
The FBI director is posting that a suspect is in custody. I would just like clarification. Do you or do you not have a suspected shooter in custody?
We have a person of interest in custody that is being interviewed right now. We do.
That is not George Zinn.
That is not George Zinn. That is correct.
Is there any indication or looking for another shooter or anybody else related to this?
Yes, we are actively looking for anyone and everyone who has any possible information relating to this shooting.
Can you tell us details about the suspect being taken into custody? Where? How long ago?
We cannot at this point, but we will get you that information when we can.
Is there believed to be a second individual involved in the shooting?
At this point, there is no information that would lead us to believe that there is a second person involved.
Can you guys talk about the possible shooting?
Do you want to talk about what we know there?
Yeah. The only information we have on the suspect, the possible shooter, is taken from closed circuit TV here on campus. We do have that. We're analyzing it, but it is security camera footage, so you can kind of guess what the quality of that is. But we do know dressed in all dark clothing, but we don't have a much better description other than that.
Where do you believe the shot came from?
The shot came from here on campus, from a location at a fair, potentially from a roof, yes. A longer distance shot from a roof.
So to clarify, with the security camera footage you have and the person of interest that's in custody, does that match up?
That's what we're trying to decipher right now.
So did FBI or DHS have anything on the threat board this morning?
I can't speak.
I'll just say that the investigation's ongoing, and as soon as we have further information, we will be sure to release it.
Any indications of foreign intelligence involvement?
As of now, I can't comment on any of that.
Can you talk a little about the security of the event itself? who was there security-wise and what happened?
Okay, if you're just joining us, you're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. We've been dipping into the press conference regarding the assassination of Charlie Kirk at a college campus in Utah. Right now, the updates we have is that there is a person of interest in custody and that they are reviewing security camera footage, closed-circuit TV security footage, which is not of high quality, of the shooter. They are not sure right now if those are the same people. They are asking for the public's help, if they have any information, to come forward with it. So the person who is in custody right now may be the shooter, may be a witness, may be an accomplice. We don't know.
We also know that this is not the person of interest who was taken into custody earlier at the time of the shooting.
We know that the person who was all over social media, that is not the same person as they are talking about right now. Right now, the media is asking questions and they're repeating themselves. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a little break. We're going to come back, and if anything is interesting happening with the press conference, we'll bring it to you right away. And then we're going to go to the phones and we're going to go to the texts because I know a lot of you want to talk about this today, and we'll bring you the latest updates, plus the media's insane reaction to all this when we come back. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Welcome back to the Ari Hoffman Show. We're covering the tragic news of Charlie Kirk, the founder of Turning Point USA, being assassinated at a college campus in Utah while doing what he does, which is having conversations with people. What does our country come to? The press conference is now over. What we learned from the press conference is there is somebody of interest, a person of interest in custody. They haven't said yet if it's the suspect or not. They are reviewing closed-circuit camera footage from the university to see if this is the person, if this is the shooter. They said the shooter was dressed in all black. This is not the person you saw on social media earlier today. That person was not dressed in all black. So assuming what they are saying is correct, that person you saw earlier today is not the shooter. The person everybody thought was the shooter is not the shooter. That person was wearing jeans and was some dude who was screaming and yelling. I know a lot of you want to talk. I'm going to do my absolute best to get to all your calls and all your texts as the show goes on. You might be holding a little bit longer than usual, so I apologize for that. But I just want to say is that this was the first text we got today, and this is from Robert over on the Warrior Injury Law text line. He wrote, and this is so profound, Charlie Kirk is in a better place. Our country is not. That's text of the day. Right there, because he's 100% right. Whether is this the modern day Martin Luther King for the right, Malcolm X kind of thing, some other leader, you can give me comparisons if you think, but that's what this means to the right. I was trying to explain this to some of our friends in the news, and I said, you don't understand what he meant to all of us. Anybody who met him thought he was their best friend, because that's the kind of guy he was. But also, he was a thought leader for so many, millions, if not trillions, of videos seen from him, downloads seen of his videos, streams of his videos. He meant so much to so many, including so many people who never, ever met him and likely would never meet him. When we come back, what we're going to do is we're going to take your calls, we're going to take your texts, and we're going to cover all the latest news and updates of the assassination of Charlie Kirk in Utah. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Welcome back to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI, covering the assassination of Charlie Kirk at a college campus in Utah. I know a lot of you have been very patient. A lot of you have been holding. Just to update everybody, there is a person of interest in custody. We don't know if it's the suspect yet or not. They are combing through the video footage. Odds are we're going to find something through somebody's cell phone camera with the thousands of college kids who are there. We go to the Warrior Injury Law Studio line, take a call from Nary in Seattle. Nary, what's up?
I have a question. Is the left adversely basically looking at the making of a murder?
I don't understand. You mean like what caused something like this?
No. Is the left adversely, I mean, like not wanting that, but they are making a murder out of Charlie Kirk?
You mean a martyr out of Charlie Kirk. That's what you're trying to say. Yeah.
Yes.
And I would actually agree with you that that's probably something that's going to happen, except remember is that you never saw Charlie Kirk fight anybody, right? So what Charlie Kirk did was he argued with people. Right. There's a difference between, I don't like the word martyr. I know where you're coming from, Nary. I don't like the word martyr because of the connotations with the terrorists and things like that. But what you're saying is a rallying cry, a rallying person, a person who's put up on a pedestal but for people to look at and go, this is how you're supposed to do it. If people want to honor Charlie Kirk's memory, you go and have discussions with people because that's what Charlie Kirk was about. He was about influencing people through discussions. But you're right. By doing this, they have lionized the right. And what they have also done is turn Charlie Kirk for the rest of time is going to be an example of, and we don't even know the motivations behind the shooter yet. We can guess at this point. We don't even know if they have the shooter in custody yet or not. But you're 100% right. This is going to be a rallying cry for the right to go, look, the left is all about violence, and look what that gets you. They call for violence all the time. Appreciate the call. Appreciate you being part of the show. You want to be part of the show, you give us a call or a text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. We go back to the Warrior Injury Law Studio line, take a call from Stilgar in Factoria. Stilgar, what's going on?
Oh, Ari, I am filled with sadness and rage, and it vacillates as which one is winning from moment to moment.
You know, I'm having the exact same thing, Stilgar. I'm having the exact same thing. I don't know why this is hitting me so hard. I'm saying this to my audience. I'm saying this to you. I met Charlie Kirk once. I spoke to him for 20 minutes. I know his people. I know people who work with him. In fact, we have a lot of people we work with together because we're part of similar companies that work together. But this is really hurting me so hard because he meant so much to so many people. Of course, I loved his videos. I didn't get to watch him as often as I like, but anytime he spoke, he said something brilliant. He had a gift. He had a talent. And it's hurting all of us that way. We're at the point I keep going back and forth between sadness and anger. I'm going through all the 7 stages of grief right now with you on the show because I'm at the exact same place you are right now, as are so many others.
Well, every time I saw him take on somebody on one of these YouTube videos, you could see his concern for them and trying to get them to a point of realization. It wasn't vitriol. He didn't call anybody names that I ever saw. He was salt of the earth. And what I keep coming back to in terms of a lot of this is that I'm having a hard time thinking of anybody that has taken a shot at anybody who was to the right of them politically, if you knew the political motivation. And we have all these people on TV that are talking to their people who are based more on emotion than reason, and they're calling people things like authoritarians.
Yeah.
And the N-word that ends in Z. And, of course, the response is going to be violence because...
Well, no, I don't accept that. I don't accept that. I don't want that. Nobody wants that. What I'm concerned about.
I don't want
no,
that.
I know you're not calling for it, Stilgar. I know you're not calling for it. But what I'm saying is.
But I mean, I can see the rhetoric leading to that.
Right, and what I'm worried about is a lot of the stuff I'm seeing on social media right now, and what's going to happen when we get the shooter in custody, whoever that shooter is. It's either going to confirm a lot of people's expectations, and are we heading for a race war? Are we heading towards a cultural war? Are we heading towards something else? You know how close this country came to a civil war when Donald Trump was shot? I mean, think about this for a second. When Donald Trump was assassinated, you think about there was no VP candidate at the time. You would have had an internal fight with MAGA. They would have blamed the left. Holy cow, we came this close to a civil war. What are we looking at now? Stilgar, I hear where you're coming from, buddy. I share in your pain and your suffering, and I appreciate the call. You want to be part of the show, you give us a call or a text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. When we come back, lots more of your calls, lots more of your texts as we cover the latest details from the assassination of Turning Point USA's Charlie Kirk at a college campus in Utah. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KBI. Welcome back to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. We are covering the tragic events surrounding the assassination of Charlie Kirk while he was doing what he does best, discussing politics and religion and anything else with college kids on a college campus in Utah. The phone lines and the text lines are absolutely blowing up right now. Nancy in Everett says, the grief and anger, I believe, stems from the unrighteousness of the murder. An innocent was taken out for bringing a right solution to our divisions. May this loss motivate us to action in concert with Charlie Kirk's methods. Agree to disagree or find the truth from fact-filled discussion. This one from the 360, Charlie Kirk, a gentle giant. You will be sorely missed, Charlie. His peace is with you now. There's so much of this on the text line. So much of this on the text line. Right here, this one from Eben and Bonnie Lake. It says, Ari, it seems to me we are already in a civil war, but most people don't know yet. I don't want to accept that yet, Eben. I don't. I know a lot of people are pointing to that today. I don't want to accept that. What was Charlie Kirk's methods? Registering voters. That's what he did to get Arizona for Trump this year. That's what he did to get Nevada for Trump. That's what he did. He went to college campuses. He had the discussions. He didn't say, let's break away and form our own country. That's not what he did at all. I don't want to think that's where we are as a civil war or anything like that. I don't want to believe that. I really, really don't. I really don't, because it would be absolutely heartbreaking to think that. Instead, what we need to do is have more of those conversations like what Charlie was having. Have more of those conversations and have respectful conversations. And when people challenge you, you call them out on it. You call them out on it. And you say, no, here's why I'm right. Here's why I'm on the right. I got to say, Governor of Utah, Spencer Cox, was talking during the press briefing just a little while ago about the assassination. There's no news aside from the fact that there is a person of interest in custody. That person was dressed in all black that they are looking for, who may not be the person they have in custody. A person of interest does not necessarily mean a suspect, may have been an accomplice, who knows who it is. It is not the person you saw on social media earlier today. So many people are reaching out locally, talking about the time Charlie Kirk was at the University of Washington. Do you remember when he came last year? Charlie Kirk said, I'm going right into the belly of the beast. Charlie Kirk said, I'm going right to University of Washington while they have a massive Gaza encampment and Antifa on campus. And we're going to talk about all this. We're going to talk about Israel. We're going to talk about politics. We're going to talk about all this right here. And who were the violent ones? The psychos in the encampment. We saw it. We saw what was happening that night. We saw all that. We have the video of it. I was there, saw it with my own two eyes. But you know what's fascinating to me? University of Washington is reaching out to the Turning Point USA chapter to see if they need anything. That's University of Washington, the same University of Washington that used to censor the Turning Point USA chapter on campus. Things have changed. Things are moving. Not at the rate we want them to, not all the way we want them to, but University of Washington reached out to the Turning Point USA kids and said, can we do anything for you? Tonight in Seattle, I just found out, at Westlake Park, Pastor Russell Johnson will be running a candlelight vigil Pray for America event at Westlake Park at 7:30 p.m. That's Pastor Russell Johnson from the Pursuit Northwest Church. If you want to do something in community with other people, that's where you go. So that's a candlelight vigil Pray for America tonight at Westlake Park at 7:30 p.m. It's being put on by the Pursuit Northwest Church. As Russell Johnson says, in response to the reprehensible and senseless murder of Charlie Kirk, we are gathering tonight at Westlake Park in Seattle at 7:30 p.m. for a time of prayer, worship, and solidarity as we take a stand against the senseless political and religious violence in America. And he's 100% right. Let's not forget, just a few days ago, we played the clip of Pastor Russell Johnson being targeted by death threats that the FBI had to contact him and his family, and they had to move him out of the house. This isn't something that just happened in Utah. This isn't something that's just happening in other places in the country. This is stuff that is happening right here. That is happening right here in our very own Seattle. So this one here from Lynn. This is absolutely sickening and the most senseless BS. The hatred I've seen lately makes me absolutely sick. I remember when I was a teenager in the late 1960s when I noticed things started to change, when my teacher started trying to indoctrinate some of us with some kind of liberal agenda. I thought the liberals were supposed to be the accepting people that accept everybody, but obviously they don't. That they accept everybody, but obviously they don't. I'm not saying that I know this for sure, but I have a feeling it was probably a paid assassin. It wouldn't surprise me to find that out. Lynn, I appreciate the first part of the message, but let's not speculate on the rest of it yet. We don't know. We don't know. And there's so much fog of war, for lack of a better word. There is so much news developing right now. We can't speculate on who this person might have been or might not have been. We don't know if it was somebody who was, we assume it's somebody who's politically motivated because the governor of Utah said it is a political assassination. Flat out called it a political assassination. Anybody who tries to say otherwise is completely wrong. Taking out MLK was a political assassination. Taking out RFK was a political assassination. Taking out Malcolm X was a political assassination. Taking out any of these people is a political assassination, and that's exactly what this is. I know a lot of you are starting to go from the sadness to the anger phase because I feel myself doing it right now. We are not them. I remember right before January 6th, there was a rally at the Washington State Capitol, a Stop the Steal rally, which I spoke at. And I said, we don't riot. We don't attack people. We don't kill people. That's the other side's gig. That's what the other side does. Charlie Kirk went to college campuses to have conversations with people, and he had some great, great conversations. He also surrounded himself with some great people. My phone absolutely blew up today with the amount of people I've been talking to who said Charlie Kirk had an effect on their lives, and they never, ever met him. Never, ever met him. This one right here from Bill Dixon from Gig Harbor. Bring him no wine from faraway vineyards. Tell him no tales of the canyon's might. But wish him peace and eternal wisdom, for he has died, and he died in light. Sean Phillips, Charlie Kirk is with the Lord. Yeah. This is the kind of stuff. I mean, guys, we're up on the 9/11 anniversary tomorrow. 9/11 anniversary tomorrow, and this is all anybody's going to be talking about right now. This is somebody who was assassinated for what they believe in, for having conversations with people. The response to that is to have more conversations with people. I remember when there was a shooting at the Jewish Federation of Greater Seattle, and they targeted us because the person didn't like what was going on in Israel that specific day, and this was 15, 20 years ago. And I remember I heard that some synagogues didn't have services that night. It was Friday night, eve of Sabbath. Some synagogues didn't have service that night, and I got so mad. I said, that's exactly what they want. That's exactly what they want. They want us to respond with violence in a case like this. Shot heard around the world may have been somebody trying to start their own civil war, in this case, for all we know. That's not what we do. That's not what Charlie did. You ever see Charlie get physical with anybody? Charlie had conversations with people. Charlie had conversations with people trying to win hearts and minds, and he did, and he got President Trump elected in 2024. This is a national tragedy. Because the response to somebody like Charlie Kirk, who wasn't about the violence, is let's be violent, whether it's the left or the right. That's not what we do. That's not who we are. That is not who we are. That is not what we do. We go to the Warrior Injury Law studio line. Take a call from Corey in Bellevue. Corey, what's going on?
Lori,
Corey, going once. You there?
Lori, yeah. Sorry. What I was going to say is that all that is necessary for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. The leftists are trying to drive us off of university campuses in the public square with violence and now murder. What we need to do is peacefully but strongly keep our presence in there. Students are failing to even learn how to write properly or do mathematics in high schools and in college. They don't learn civics. They don't learn conservative values. Like Charlie Kirk, we must go out there and present in articulate and in strong manners the values that we believe in and the values that are best for our country. We need to use Charlie Kirk as a rallying point and an example of the right way to engage in a strong but peaceful manner.
You're absolutely right, which is why, you know what I did during the commercial break today? I reached out to the University of Washington. And I said, if the kids from the Turning Point USA chapter need somebody to talk to, unfortunately, from my previous experience, I've had a lot of experience with dealing with teenagers who are sad about things. When somebody died in the community, when I was a youth director and stuff, and I said, if those kids need somebody to talk to, I'll come out and talk to them. Now, I don't think University of Washington is in session right now. But like I said, there is that big vigil tonight at 7:30 at Westlake Park, run by the Pursuit Northwest Church, if people want to come out there. But, yeah, you're 100% right. I think we need to go to the college campuses. I think we need to go to the schools. We need to go to the high schools. We need to go to the middle schools. And we need to make sure that Charlie's message is being carried. And if they won't get rid of this kind of stuff. We need to keep having the discussions until they will get rid of this kind of stuff. Good call, Corey. Appreciate you being part of the show. Sorry for your loss, buddy. You want to be part of the show today, you give us a call or a text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Speak of the sun, and it shall appear. Our frenemy, Bennett the protester. Bennett, you said some really nice stuff earlier about Charlie, and you didn't even agree with him.
Yeah, I'm in the car again. Audio okay? You can hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I did talk to him a little bit when he came to the UW thing, and like he said, he spotted me because I had the PVC pipe sign, and so he knew I was a protester, let me have a turn of the mic like everybody. But my take on this is that I think that he was a victim of the culture of controversy, where and not just about the guns. Although I think that's that's part of it. There's going to be a time for that discussion. But we have sort of a thing where if you generate controversy, that generates more attention, which more people feed on that, going to places where this person is going to be, which generates more controversy. And I think that he benefited from. It's not his fault. I'm not saying he did anything wrong, but he benefited from that too until he didn't. And it's sort of like a culture that we encourage the controversy and how it feeds into a person having a larger and larger following, and the following feeds the controversy, but it also means you have big crowds of angry protesters.
So I'm not sure I agree with you, Bennett, and I'll tell you why, okay? You go out and you protest all the time. There's plenty of events you don't see me at. In fact, you rarely see me at a lot of these events out there, because if there's something I disagree with, like a drag show or something like that, I can disagree with it. I can talk about it on the air. I don't necessarily have to go to these things, right? You have a different take on life, and that's fine. That's fine for you. But what I'm saying is just to assume that going somewhere to have a discussion with people generates the controversy. It may have generated the controversy, but for me, it shouldn't have done what it did, where the guy has to travel with a huge security phalanx anytime he goes anywhere because people don't like his ideas. This is not a guy who said, hey, let's kill anybody. And I know that's not what you're saying, Bennett. I know that's not what you're saying. But just because somebody has opinions you disagree with, it shouldn't inspire violence. Like, for example, I get death threats all the time. Not from you. I get death threats all the time. It's unfortunate. Why? Because I say something on the radio. Am I bothering anybody? Is what I'm saying triggering people? They could just turn the station. Like people who don't want to hear what you have to say when you're on the show. They could do that right now. I'm not encouraging anybody to do that. I'm not saying that. We like that you listen to the show. But what I am saying is that I think the problem with that thinking is when people think different things, you can always ignore them. Appreciate the call, Bennett. Appreciate what you said. Appreciate you being part of the show. You want to be part of the show, give us a call or text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. We go to the Warrior Injury Law Studio line. Take a call from our friend Transit Joe. Transit Joe, what's up, man?
What's up is first, obviously, I condemn the assassination of Charlie Kirk. I'm scared for guys like you who are still brave enough to go out to college campuses and exercise those beautiful First Amendment rights. It's scary. It's scary for everybody in politics right now.
Yeah. That's definitely something that people are thinking about right now. Can we even do that anymore?
Yeah, because there's always the one unhinged person, whether it's Alex Zimmerman or, others. But, Ari, I got to ask you to do something. And, I understand if you wanted respectful discussion about things today, well, you're going to have it. Because I wish you and other guys would say, instead of saying you don't hate the media enough, instead say you don't mistrust the media enough, or you don't source check the media enough, or you don't have enough media diversity.
Well, here's the problem. I hear where you're coming from, but here's the thing. And I want you to stay on the phone with us through this, okay? I really, really do. I want you to weigh in after I play these clips for you. It's a great opening for this. Hang on the line, Joe. This is what the media was saying today as they were finding out about Charlie Kirk's assassination. Here's MSNBC's politics reporter, Alan Smith.
He has 3.8 million subscribers on YouTube. It's quite a lot. 5.2 on X, formerly known as Twitter. What is the messaging?
Well, I mean, he has certainly been front and center on a lot of the more divisive social and cultural issues that have driven the MAGA movement. I mean, you talk about trans rights, a lot of issues around racial justice. He has taken the sort of contrarian, more MAGA approach to a lot of these issues, and he has, he's been pretty inflammatory in his rhetoric throughout the years, and that's how he's been able to build such a huge platform.
Are you literally saying he caused this to himself? Because that's what it sounds like you said to me. That's what it sounds like you just said to me. MSNBC all day today, holy cow, they are unhinged.
Then lead to hateful actions. And I think that's the environment we're in, that people just, you can't stop with these sort of awful thoughts you have and then saying these awful words and not expect awful actions to take place.
Matt.
And that's the unfortunate environment we're in.
Turning Point USA has confirmed that he was shot. And there are a number
Sounds like they're victim blaming right now. That's what it sounds like to me. Oh, hold my beer. Hold my Bud Light for a second, because MSNBC just kept getting worse.
Because as we were just talking about a moment ago with Alan, after one of the Doge employees was allegedly attacked in Washington, D.C., that's what Donald Trump used as justification to send in federal troops into Washington, D.C. to get things under control. The carjacking situation, he used that. And I know it's hard to predict the future, Mark, but you can imagine the administration using this as a justification for something.
Holy cow, what is wrong with these people? Washington, D.C. has been a cesspool for years and needed to be cleaned up. And sending in the National Guard is well within President Trump's rights. So what are you saying? We're going to go into every college campus and arrest anybody who disagrees with us? You're saying the Trump administration is going to do that because Charlie Kirk got shot? You guys are unhinged. Look, right now, I have 3 hours of content I got to fill on a day like today. Pontificating and speculating like that? This is why nobody watches your network. You people are sick. Absolutely sick. You want to hear how much worse it got on MSNBC today?
In which a shooting like this happens.
Yeah, and again, to emphasize what you just emphasized, we don't know any of the full details of this. That we don't know if this was a supporter shooting their gun off in celebration, or so we have no idea.
I'm sorry, what? A supporter shooting their gun off in celebration? Better to remain silent and have everybody think you're a fool than open your mouth and remove all doubt. Pretty sure it was Mark Twain who said something like that. This is the news. This is your media. This is how they are covering anything like that. If a Republican said any of those things that MSNBC said when somebody on the left was killed, what would have been the reaction from the left? They would lose their minds. Absolutely lose their minds. So, we go back to the Warrior Injury Law Studio line. And Joe, now you see why I say what I say?
I think you judge too much. You paint all media with the same brush, and that's what I got a problem with.
Joe, I know you cover stuff in a certain part for the media. This isn't you, but you're the minority. This is the majority. I have clip after clip from ABC, from CNN, from MSNBC, from even our stupid local satire site, The Needling. That's not you, Joe. That is the media. So I know you take it personally when I say things like that, but you are an independent journalist. You are not the media. Appreciate the call, though. Appreciate you being part of the show. You want to be part of the show, you give us a call or text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. We go back to the Warrior Injury Law Studio line. Take a call from Dave in Seattle. Dave, what's going on?
Woohoo! I am a first-time caller, and what prompted me was I was scrolling through Instagram, and who pops up on my Instagram timeline but Hannah Krieg.
Hang on a second. Let's tell everybody who that is for a second. Hannah Krieg is one of the former writers at The Stranger who now has her own podcast of some kind, who is one of the ones who celebrated the assassination attempt on Donald Trump. What pearls of wisdom did she have to share today, the unemployed journalist?
Yes. Well, as you probably reported earlier, she posted that condemning moderate Democrats such as Pramila Jayapal. Yes, Pramila Jayapal for condemning the political violence, even though she suggested gun control right after, because, can't miss a good opportunity. But then she went on a 1.5-minute rant about how we are ignoring the genocide in Gaza, and they're not speaking out about the genocide in Gaza, but they're speaking out about Charlie Kirk and I about exploded.
Can you do me a favor, David? I think I recognize your voice. I think I know exactly who you are. You have my contact information, right?
Yes.
Can you do me a favor, Dave, and can you send that to my email account, ari@kvi.com, ari@kvi.com, so we can get a little taste of Hannah Krieg's insanity?
All right. If you want to raise your blood pressure, sure, I'll send it right over.
Absolutely. We'll take a look at that. We will definitely do that. Dave, appreciate the call. Appreciate you being part of the show. You want to be part of the show, you give us a call or text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Dave raises an interesting point, by the way. You can never be radical enough for the radical left. We can all speculate about who this shooter might be. I'm not going to do that till we actually have the information. We can all guess, but we shouldn't do that. A lot of it's going on social media right now. We shouldn't be doing that. But somebody like Hannah Krieg, who calls Pramila Jayapal, the spokeswoman for Hamas, a moderate, one of the members of the squad, a moderate. Apparently, Pramila Jayapal isn't far left enough for Hannah Krieg. That's the media, by the way, my friends. That is the media. Absolutely crazy. When we come back, my friends, the latest updates on the assassination of Charlie Kirk at a college campus in Utah. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Welcome back to the Ari Hoffman Show. We're covering the tragic news of the assassination of Turning Point USA's Charlie Kirk today while on a college campus. We're taking your calls, we're taking your emails, we're taking your texts, 206-421-5757, 5757. That's 206-421-5757. We go to the Warrior Injury Law studio line, take a call from Ron in Tacoma, who's been holding a really long time. Ron, sorry about that. What's going on, man?
I want to correct you on one thing. The Democrat Party, you were right about one thing, basically saying that we don't fight back against the Democrats, because they do this often. I just want to make sure everybody knows that the current count for civil wars that I'm aware of is 2. You got the Civil War, which the Republicans went in and took their slaves and ended the war. And then you have the Battle of Athens, Tennessee.
You mean freed the slaves. You mean freed the slaves.
Freed,
not take their slaves. That sounds worse there, Ron. Yes.
Sure,
Okay.
yeah. Allow them to go home or leave or whatever they wish to do. And then there's the Battle of Athens, Tennessee, when, remember the poll taxes and all that? When the World War II vets came into town and the politicians and the corrupt police went against them and they took them on. And it was the only time that there was this ever occurred, that nobody went to jail and no one paid for anything. It was like a truce. You should read about it. I actually sent it to you at about 4:25 on your feed, or 4:45 on your feed.
I'll go check it out for sure. I appreciate that, Ron.
Okay.
I appreciate that. Were you a fan of Charlie's, Ron?
Oh, absolutely. I've never met him. I only started recently because I watched him. He kind of drew me in over the last few years, and then over the last 6 months, he really got my attention. I was shocked. I can't even believe. Here's my question to you: when do we get to finally going to do something?
Well, here's the thing. We've got the vigil tonight, and I know a lot of people right now are saying we don't want to do thoughts and prayers. We want to do something else. But I'll tell you this, Ron, right? When is the last time, and I'm asking you this, I'm not picking on you, but I'm saying, when is the last time you went out and had a conversation with somebody you disagreed with to just discuss the issues over a beer or something like that?
Never. You know what? You can't really do that with these people anymore. You're lucky to be able to do it peacefully.
So I don't think that's true, and I'm going to tell you why. My social media messages, my DMs, is filled with friends of mine who are on the left, who are saying, I'm so sorry about your friend. And I knew him, but I didn't really know him. I mean, I interviewed him once, and we worked together on a few projects, but really, this is somebody who I didn't know that well, but those are my friends on the left who I discuss politics with all the time. I'm not telling you to go out and pick fights with random people, Ron, but what I am saying is Charlie Kirk will go out and have discussions with anybody who wants to have the discussion. When we stop having the discussions, we lose the battle already, because then we're not going to win hearts and minds. You hear what I'm saying, Ron?
I agree, but the problem is these discussions aren't getting on our public air.
Okay.
The Democrats.
But here's the problem with that, Ron. The way you win elections is by forget Washington State for a minute. I know. But the way you win elections is going door to door with people, going door to door and having conversations at the door. Doing that, and none of those make it on public air. That's what I'm saying. So Charlie's stuff made on public air, and by the way, it's going to get a lot more views now. Unfortunately, this is the thing that's going to do that. But here's the thing. We don't have that voice anymore, and we need to do it on a more local level. Ron, appreciate the call. Appreciate you being part of the show.
They made him a political martyr.
Yeah, unfortunately they did. Appreciate the call. You want to be part of the show, you give us a call or a text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. We go back to the Warrior Injury Law studio line, take a call from Rob in Mount Vernon. Rob, what's going on?
I knew immediately when I heard that he had been shot. I was holding my emotions back, and that he had been shot in the neck, and as much as I didn't want to believe it, I knew that he was done. And then, of course, an hour later into the cast, it was announced that he was done. And, I've been listening to Charlie almost daily. But early this morning when I got up, I'm on X, and I'm following quite a few people, Laura Loomer and Tim Burchett and whatnot. And
hang on, side note there. Did you see what Laura Loomer just posted? And I'm not even her biggest fan. Apparently TMZ, when they were reporting all this, you know how they do their shtick in the newsroom? You heard all them cheering a few seconds before they announced he was dead, which means they got the news, and you hear them cheering in the background. How sick is that?
Oh, of course. I mean, they're evil, but, and I don't agree with everything that Laura Loomer says either, but the thing that was how did the Pinks get in there, referring to Trump's dinner the other day? And
the Code Pink people. Yeah.
Who was the insider? And then there was arrows pointing to the dinner placement, a knife on the table, a glass, a champagne glass or whatever, that easily could have been, used as weapons had somebody. And I'm replied, it's like, he can't watch his six enough.
Well,
and
you
he
know what I'll
can't
say. You know what I'll
trust
say
the
about that one before we get into the conspiracy theories about who's in his inner circle. The Secret Service gives these places a heads up before they go anywhere. Odds are it was a member of the restaurant. Odds are it was somebody who works at the restaurant who agrees with these guys and said, "You're never going to believe who's coming here next," and that's who let them in. I would bet anything that's what probably happened. I don't think it's somebody inside the White House.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, but the bottom line is you just never know who's inside your inner circle, and you can go ahead and vet and then re-vet. And I just, the hatred for the movement, which is the movement of peace, prosperity, and followings of Christ, and no war, they don't want that, and they're just doing everything they can. And then within a few hours, I heard about Charlie Kirk, and it's like, God, I was just online commenting about this, and boom. It's just so unreal.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you
What
this
is
also is that
happening.
you bring up a great point, Rob. Is that one of the clips I played earlier from MSNBC? What were they saying on MSNBC? Oh, he has such controversial ideals. You mean quoting from the Bible? You mean quoting from traditional Judeo-Christian values? So controversial. Oh my God. Oh my God. So controversial. It's only been around for 3,000 years. So controversial. That's how the mainstream media views all of us that believe in God.
Right, and then the next thing that I was tuning into was a snippet that, it was somebody celebrating. Right, really? Somebody celebrating like the lunatics over in Iraq or Iran or the Hamas shooting guns into the air? Oh, somebody just happened to celebrate with some kind of a weapon, and it accidentally hit Charlie Kirk in the neck, and he's bleeding to death.
Yeah.
God, I mean,
As soon as I saw that
mentality
video,
is-
and by the way, I'm going to ask a personal favor of my audience. Personal favor. Don't share the video. Don't share the video. And if you have shared it, untweet it, take it down, whatever the case may be. And the reason I'm begging you to do this, someday his kids are going to want to know about their father. And you don't want his kids seeing that video because of you. So what I'm saying is...
hopefully it'll be taken down.
Well, I hope so, but that video is so graphic that it's something. It's something else. So I just beg everybody to take it down. Rob, appreciate the call. Appreciate you being part of the show. You want to be part of the show today, you give us a call or a text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. When we come back, more of your calls, more of your texts, plus more updates on the assassination of Charlie Kirk from Turning Point USA. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Welcome back to the Ari Hoffman Show, bringing you live continuing coverage of the assassination of conservative thought leader, political pundit, founder of Turning Point USA radio show host Charlie Kirk. There's a horrifying video which Phil from the morning show just sent over to me and Mike. We haven't corroborated it yet, but it's making the rounds of the internet. I'm not talking about the up close and personal one, which if you haven't seen it, please don't watch it. Please don't share it. It's too graphic. For MSNBC to say something dumb like, oh, it must be somebody firing a gun in celebration, one of his supporters perhaps. The second I saw that horrifying video, I said, that is a professional who knew exactly what they were doing and knows how to use a rifle at a far distance. That is what I saw from that video. But there's a video that Phil sent over to us, which looks like it's from inside a room, inside one of the buildings on the college campus. Looks like kids or staff or whoever is meeting, and they're filming it. But if you see this video on social media, I don't feel comfortable sharing it yet, but if you see this video on social media, don't watch everybody hitting the deck. Watch the roof line. There's somebody running on the roof line. We haven't corroborated this. We don't know this is accurate, but immediately when I saw the video of the up-close and personal shot of Charlie Kirk, I said, my God, that's a rooftop shot from somewhere far away from a rifle for sure. You may actually be able to see the person running away. It's absolutely horrifying. I will say this. Mary in Seattle sent us a great text over at the Warrior Injury Law Studio line. She said, in honor of Charlie Kirk, we should have Make America Debate again, as Charlie fearlessly did. We have such great text today. We have such great calls today from so many of you. Mary, that is an excellent, excellent suggestion. I think that's what we all need to do. That's what we've been saying all day long. And speaking of debate, we go to the Warrior Injury Law Studio line, take a call from Ed in Maple Valley, who disagrees with me on something. Ed, what's up, man?
Hey, Ari, how you doing?
It's a day. It's a day.
You know, the way I'm looking at it is that I'm hearing a lot of you guys, I mean, me too, you know, people say, well, we don't riot and we don't attack people and we're not like that. And you know who knows that too is our opponents, the left. Mm-hmm. They know we're not going to do anything. We're going to make America debate again. We're going to say all these slogans that are going to make absolutely no difference at all. You're fighting people that any means necessary. That's their slogan. The only truth is power. And you've let them know that you're not going to do anything. They know the legal system's not going to do anything. And the only people that can do stuff is us.
So let me tell you why I kind of disagree with you on that. I hear where you're coming from. Believe me, Ed, I hear where you're coming from. And sometimes I'm just like, erg, you know, I'm not going to finish that sentence, but yeah. But when I get into a debate with a person, I'm not in the debate to win the hearts and minds of the person across from me. I'm in the debate to win the hearts and minds of everybody who's listening to me. So, for example, when I go to University of Washington or when I went to University of North Carolina, Charlotte, or when I go to these places, I am not fighting the protester. I'm fighting everybody else. So let me give you a little bit of inspiration from when I went to speak for Turning Point USA at University of North Carolina, Charlotte. And Charlie Kirk flew me out for that one. His guys organized the whole thing. So what happens is I'm on the college campus, and 150, 200 protesters are waiting for me on that college campus. So I go to the room where they're setting up, and there's a few of the Turning Point kids around. Most of the crowd hasn't shown up. And I start introducing myself. Unfortunately, I couldn't find donuts for them, which is my signature thing. I usually go and find donuts for anybody. There wasn't anything nearby. They told me afterwards, oh, it was right around the block. You just didn't see it. So I took all the kids for Starbucks afterwards. Took them for coffee. Coffee goes well with donuts. But I remember there were a couple of college kids sitting there. And I introduced myself, and I said, why are you here? And the discussion was about Israel and stuff. And they said, we're curious. I said, are you Republicans? They said, no. I said, are you politically involved? They said, no. I said, well, what are you doing here? And they just said, we're curious. I said, that's great. That's wonderful. Well, while I was talking, these protesters are yelling at me, and they're screaming at me, and they're heckling me, and they're doing all this stuff. And afterwards, these kids came along because I invited all the kids from Turning Point USA for coffee afterwards because I didn't have donuts with them. And these kids came. And they said to me at the event afterwards, Ari, we didn't get to hear anything you said at this event. We didn't get to hear your speech. But you were being polite and you were being respectful. And now we're signing up with Turning Point USA because you were polite and you were respectful and they acted like crazy people. Now, I know, Ed, I know what you're going to say, Ed, and I'm not disagreeing with you, Ed. But you're always after the other people. You don't think this is going to have an effect on galvanizing a whole bunch of people to say, we're going to do more of this. We're going to go knock on more doors. We're going to have more conversations. And I kind of hope it's going to sway elections because that's what Charlie would have wanted, don't you think?
I disagree. Because if you see the people in the space that are making statements today, what are they saying?
But those are the same people. Those are the same people we always see, Ed. Those are the same people, and there's only so many of them. 90%. Okay, so there's X amount of people on Twitter, right? It is a fraction of the U.S. population.
No, it's not Twitter. You're talking about people like Tim Pool or whatever are saying, we're canceling events because our security said don't go.
Yeah, we're not doing that. Right? That's why we're going to the vigil tonight. We're going to the vigil tonight because you should be out there. I don't think anybody should be canceling events, which is why I said the thing I said earlier. Nobody should be canceling anything up your security. We're unfortunately too used to that in the Jewish community when there's attack on the Jewish community. So then up your security. And don't think everybody like me isn't having that conversation about how to be safe in these places. Ed, I appreciate the disagreement and the call. You want to be part of the show, you give us a call or text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. We go to the Warrior Injury Law Studio line. Take a call from Sue in Seattle. Sue, what's up?
Ari, I love you. I love the Jewish people. I'm a Christian woman, but I listened to you today because I am grieving for Charlie Kirk, but I am so disappointed in you right now because you are supporting censorship. We need to see the videos, like we needed to see the videos of what happened in Israel.
So I'll tell you something. Sue. I hear where you're coming from. But you know what happened with the videos in Israel? I never share them. I never, ever share them. There's somebody who I'm sure you probably follow locally. I'm not going to tell you who they were, but I was the one who was inviting all the media to see that footage. And the way I did the introduction to all the media about this, all the people in the media who I'm friends with, not the other media, them, they can whatever, but all the people I'm friends with, I said, if you say no, I won't judge you for it. I won't judge you for it. And a couple of them said, Ari, we're with you 100%. We support Israel 100%. We don't want to have that burned into our minds. Now, I know what you're saying, Sue. You're saying the whole world needs to see what they did to him. Like what Jackie O said with JFK. She said, I'm wearing the blood on the outfit because I want them to see what they did to him. That's what Jackie O literally said when JFK was assassinated. I know where you're coming from, Sue. The thing that is driving my motivation here is like what I said earlier. Someday, my kids Google me. My kids search for me. And they go, hey, Dad, look what this guy said about you. Look at this. You want those little kids one day seeing that video of their father?
Yes.
I think we're going to disagree on that one, Sue, because you really want them seeing that happen to their father on TV?
They are going to see it, Ari. Don't you think they're going to find it if they want to find it? We need to see it.
I don't know what video. I think we're talking about different videos, Sue, but the one with the blood pouring out of his neck, I don't think you want his kids seeing that.
See it. We need to see what happened in Israel. We need to see the truth. Aren't you for the truth, Ari?
Well, yeah, Sue, but at the same time, I also wouldn't let my kids watch certain movies at certain ages.
Well, we're not PG rating the truth.
Well, I'll tell you this, Sue. You can share it if you want to. I'm telling you what I'm doing. Because for me, I don't want to be the one who these kids go to their mom and say, Mom, look what I saw on social media, and it's got my name underneath it. And that mom has to see that thing. That woman who just lost her husband at the age of 31 has to see it and go, her kids saw it because Ari Hoffman shared it. I hear your frustration.
I feel compassion for the woman and the children. I do, more than you know. But the world needs to know the truth. And you are censoring the truth.
I'm not censoring anything, Sue. People don't have to listen to me. I'm not putting a block on it. I'm not putting community notes on it. All I'm saying is that my advice...
You are telling people to censor the truth.
Sue, that is not what I said. I said, think of his kids.
Then tell me.
I said, think of his kids. And I wouldn't be able to live with myself.
Okay, so you want to put... Do you do that for what happened in the Holocaust, too?
Sue, I don't show that stuff to my kids. My kids know what happened without seeing that stuff.
You don't have to show this to your kids either.
And I'm not. In fact, I told them not to watch it.
It's the parents' decision. Don't
Exactly.
censor the truth from adults.
So,
We
Sue,
need to know the truth.
Sue, I wish people listened to every word I said and did everything I said, but I'm sure there are a whole bunch of people, and I could tell there are from the text line, who are not listening to me on this. Appreciate the call, though. Appreciate you being part of the show. You want to be part of the show, give us a call or a text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. When we come back, the latest updates. There is a person of interest in custody, but have they been switched over to suspect? We're getting conflicting reports right now. We'll dig through them when we come back, plus more of your calls, more of your texts. You're listening to The Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Welcome back to the Ari Hoffman Show. We have an unexpected guest in the studio. He was coming in for other business, and he happened to be here on this day, and I'm very, very fortunate that he's here. The one and only John Carlson joins us live in studio right now. John, your reaction to what happened to Charlie Kirk today?
This is a very ugly day, and it's going to be remembered for a long, long time. Very important to remember, Ari, what was Charlie Kirk doing when he was assassinated today? Charlie Kirk, unlike the usual model where people only go to talk to those people who already agree with them in, very restricted setting, Charlie Kirk did in Utah today what he did at the UW last year. Goes and talks to anyone who wants to challenge him, debate him, discuss issues with him. That's what he was doing, making himself available and accessible to anyone with a countervailing point of view. And he got slaughtered, killed, shot down, cold blood. This is chilling. And I got to say this, last year with people, or during the election, people would say, what do you most fear, John? And they're thinking, about Harris winning or what she might do if she was elected. And my answer was always the same. What do I fear most? Violence.
Mm-hmm.
Even before the attempted assassination of President Trump, assassinations attempts on Donald Trump, that is what most concerned me, still does. We've had someone, a left-wing extremist, go after members of Congress, tried to commit mass murder. Luckily, he was cut down before he could do too much damage. Almost killed Congressman Scalise.
Mm-hmm.
2 attempts on President Trump. Now the attempted assassination of the ICE agents.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now we have the assassination of Charlie Kirk. I mean this with all sincerity and with all affection for you. I want you to be careful, because you've always made yourself available for people who don't agree with you. You've always gone out on point and spoken. And, you, Jonathan Cho, Brandy Cruz, me to an extent when I was here, you could be a target of this ugliness. We've already seen this ugliness. It just hadn't reached this extent at this level until this afternoon.
Yeah. And we all prayed and we all hoped that wasn't the news we were going to get. But anybody who saw that video knew it was over the second that happened. This is something that looks like it was done by a professional. We don't have all the details on the person of interest who's in custody right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you, John, is that long before I started working here, I was getting death threats. And unfortunately, that's become a byproduct of our profession.
Yeah.
Where just for saying our opinion, people want to kill us. It's absolutely horrifying.
People want us, now you, Brandy, Jonathan, dead for having the temerity to express a point of view that is at odds with theirs.
Yeah.
I mean, can you be more civil and open-minded than Brandy Cruz?
Yeah. And yet, we're all at the top of the list. John, I appreciate your concern. Appreciate you coming in today. It's good to see you on a day like today. Good to see a friendly face.
Always there, man.
Great to have you, buddy. Great to hear your voice again
Take
on the
care,
radio.
will you?
We got a whole lot more to discuss as we have continuing live coverage of the assassination of Turning Point USA's Charlie Kirk. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show, Talk Radio 570 KVI. Welcome to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI as we continue our live coverage of the assassination of Turning Point USA's Charlie Kirk. And I know a lot of you have been sharing some very personal stuff with us today on the text line, on the phone line. Have a quick correction to make. This was good. Randolph said this over on the text line. Ari, she wasn't Jackie O at the assassination. She hadn't married Onassis yet. Did I say Jackie O? Yeah, you're probably right. She was just Jackie Kennedy right then. Apologize. Correction. Thank you for bringing a little humor in a day like today. I got to say is that something like today is what happens next. What happens next? Charlie Kirk inspired so many people. And it was all about the free and open debate. That's what Charlie Kirk was always about, the free and open debate. He didn't go looking for a fight. You know what Charlie Kirk could have done, Mike? He could have done this. We were all at University of Washington during when Charlie Kirk came to town. We had a KVI booth, and we were outside and giving out flags and whatever. You know what Charlie Kirk could have said in that auditorium? He could have said, "There's a Gaza encampment on the quad. Let's go take it back. Woo!" It's not what he did. It's not what he did at all. He stood out there under his tent, sat out there in his tent, and had conversations with people. How easy would it have been for somebody like Charlie Kirk, who gets trillions of views on social media, to mobilize an army? He could have done it. Absolutely could have done it. He could have said in 2020, "That's it. Rigged. System's rigged. There's no point in voting anymore. That's it. Let's burn it all down." It's not what he did. He said, "I'm going to try harder next time." Let that be inspiration to us here in Washington, where we think every election is rigged because of mail-in balloting and everything else. But Charlie Kirk, you know how he did it? He said, "Okay, I'm going to play your game." People like Charlie Kirk and Scott Pressler said, "All right, where there's mail-in ballots, we're going to go and we're going to ballot harvest." Something you can do is be like Charlie Kirk, not just debating people, but also going out there. And Charlie Kirk, a guy with millions of followers who never needed to leave his studio ever. He could have just sat there and collected money for the rest of his life. He was out there in the streets ballot harvesting. He was out there in the streets registering people to vote. That's how Charlie Kirk said we fight back. That's what Charlie Kirk did. I got to say, I'm absolutely nauseous looking at social media today. It's like the troll said, "All right, we'll give him an hour, if that. And then we're going to be all over him." It's nauseating looking at this. Fill it with other stuff. Fill it with Charlie videos. Fill it with the stuff that inspires Americans to be great again. Because I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I think that right now, a lot of people are looking at this and going, what do? We want to do something. I'll remind everybody that tonight at 7:30 at Westlake Park in downtown Seattle, our friends over at Pursuit Northwest Church are going to be running a vigil for Charlie. You want to do something? Come to that tonight. But if you want to actually do something, then do something. It's not rioting. That's what the left does. Challenge people on their ideas or go out and start registering people to vote. I like Mary's text earlier where she said, "Make America debate again." What do they always tell us? I went to bartending school. And when I was in bartending school, they told us never discuss three things in a bar. Never discuss sports, politics, or religion. And I said, that's a weird thing to say. What if you're working at a sports bar? And they said, well, the problem is it's about the tips. And if you say something because you like the Mets and somebody else likes the Yankees in a New York sports bar, they're not going to tip you. Don't talk about sports, politics, or religion. And I think that has actually ruined our conversation. Why is it we feel like we can't say things anymore? The left is so mad because Charlie Kirk would say things that we used to be fine with saying a few years ago. And Charlie Kirk was only 31 years old. But now all of a sudden those things are, you can't say that. You can't talk about how trans might be a mental illness. You can't talk about religion. You can't quote the Bible. You can't do that. Separation of church and state. We've lost the ability to do that, and we're self-censoring. We are self-censoring. Can't do that. Charlie Kirk never self-censored. We don't self-censor. You need to talk about this stuff all the time. Oh, no, you offend somebody with your ideas. You offend somebody. Oh, no, they're triggered. You need to have the conversations. This is a tragedy, but if any good can come from it, is by following Charlie Kirk's example. Charlie Kirk could have led an army. He could have led an armed uprising against Democrats, against leftists, against Antifa, against Hamasniks. Instead, he led an army of followers who want to spread his ideas. That's almost biblical. That's almost messianic. And for a guy who is all about Judeo-Christian values, who is all about his Christianity, I think that's what he wants us to do. I think that's exactly what he'd want us to do. I haven't studied Jesus much, but I do know a little bit about the stuff that Charlie followed, and I do know the example he was setting there. Jesus wasn't about the being violent and confrontational. You want to follow Charlie's example? Then follow Charlie's example. Because you never saw Charlie taking up arms against other people. Yeah, sure, he did it for self-protection. Sure, he liked the Second Amendment. Sure, absolutely. He didn't say use it on somebody else. Be part of his army of ideas. That's how you honor, that's how you memorialize a guy like Charlie Kirk. We go to the Warrior Injury Law studio line, take a call from Chuck in Burien. Chuck, what's going on?
How you doing, Ari?
It's a day. It's a day.
Yes, it is. A kind of unusual one. I kind of agree with Ed, the guy you got, and Ron. I know Sue got a little bit historical, but I think age has got something to do with our viewpoints. I'm a few months older than Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And I see things differently than all of my 5 kids, a lot differently. Your viewpoint and of going about your age group is, don't do this, don't do that. We've got to keep the dialogue going. Yeah, keep a dialogue going. The only problem is, as Ron and Ed were trying to say, is that they win because they got away with it and nothing was done. Maxine Waters, get in their face, tell them they're not welcome here. What's happened since then? Steve Scalise got shot. Trump got shot. Kirk is dead. What do we do? Well, let's not get too wild. No, we have to. If they have a protest, I'll volunteer my body. We got to have 1,000, 10,000 people counter-protesting them.
I think I don't think we're that far apart here, Chuck. I really don't. I think what you're saying is, I'm saying if you want to go to a protest, be loud and be protest, just be peaceful, like the Constitution says we should be. We don't go and burn down buildings, right? I mean, one of the things,
No.
right, exactly. So I didn't think you were saying that.
That's what they're doing, and they're getting away with it.
Well, okay, so that's a different thing. Them getting away with violence, the fact that we put up with it is insane. Now, I'm not saying meet violence with violence, but here's the thing. We should be saying right now, most of the people in Washington agree with us. I please God still hope that. Right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't we like to think that, Chuck? Wouldn't we like to think that? Okay.
Absolutely.
Because I see the same 100 protesters any protest I go to. They're loud, but there's a limited number of them, right? I think the problem is that all of us aren't showing up. Whatever form that takes, except for violence, whatever form that is, Chuck, I think a lot of us aren't even showing up. And I think that's the problem.
That's because we don't know about half of it.
Well, hang on. Okay. So let me ask you a question. So many people today know Charlie Kirk. The whole world now knows Charlie Kirk is dead, right? Have all of them seen that video on social media?
Well, kind of.
Well, I don't know if all of them have seen it. In fact, I know a lot of people have certain restrictions on their accounts so they don't see things like that because the video's already been labeled such. But just based on the number of people who are on social media, look, none of the news outlets, not even Fox, are showing that video. They're not showing it. And here's something horrifying to think about, Chuck. If you've seen any Charlie Kirk videos where he's arguing with people, you know that there is an up-close video of what happened. There is a video on Charlie Kirk and the person across from him. There exists up-close video of what happened. I don't think we need to release that, but I know some people are saying, Ari, you need to release that to show them what they did. To show them what they did. And I think you and I are going to have a difference of opinion on that, Chuck. And I hear why you're saying that. I hear why you're saying that, but do you understand why I'm saying it? For me, it is literally, and I know people are saying, Ari, his kids are going to see it eventually anyway and all that kind of stuff. I don't want that karma on me. You know what I'm saying?
No, it doesn't make sense because you yourself are very much on the opposite side when it comes to the attack that they did on Israel on October 7th. The videos, all of the, yes, describing, if we don't know what they did, we don't know what they did then.
I hear what you're saying. Chuck, I completely hear what you are saying. I completely hear what you're saying. I'm haunted by something I said a while ago. I'm haunted by something I said. This was before I had a radio show. I posted this on social media, Chuck. Let's work this through together. Say hi to your dog for me. So here's something, all right? Here's something. Years ago, I said we should have a protest at Inslee's house. I said we should go to Inslee's house and we should protest at Inslee's house. And then as much as I dislike Trudy or his kids and whatever Gates stuff they're into or anything else, I realize that's still somebody's home. You want to go protest his office, his place of business. But when I saw what happened on January 6th at Inslee's house, when everybody was like going after his house, I'm like, oh dear, that may be something I eat later, because that's not the way to do it, right? Because then you also gave them the narrative. We had 6 months. Hang on a second, Chuck. Then I'll let you argue with me in a second. We had 6 months of the left rioting, and now all anybody on the left can talk about is January 6th, right? So I'm not saying don't show them the riot footage, because you don't have a lot of death and destruction. I mean, you have a lot of destruction, but thank God I haven't seen a lot of death videos in that. I mean, the video of the woman getting hit on the freeway in Seattle, that was awful. People getting shot in Seattle, that was awful. But I'm saying is that one in front of Inslee's house, in front of the Capitol, in front of all that kind of stuff, kind of undid the moral high ground where we had, and the Democrats use it against us anytime they have. I'll give you the last word, then I got to run, Chuck.
Remember what happened to Justice, I believe, I forgot what justice. They went to his house.
Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh.
Kavanaugh.
Yeah.
And they were going to shoot him.
Yeah.
They protested in front of his house.
Yeah.
But it's not good for us to do that, but it's okay for them to do that.
I hear there is definitely a double standard. Definitely a double standard. I think at this point we're just disagreeing about method. But Chuck, great call. Appreciate you listening to the show. Appreciate the discussion.
Have a good one, my brother.
You too, buddy. Say hi to your dog for me. Yeah. You want to be part of the show, you give us a call or a text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. We go back to the Warrior Injury Law studio line. Take a call from Steve in Tacoma. Steve, what's going on?
Hey, Ari. Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you on the video, buddy. I mean, I seen it, and it's horrific.
Yeah.
And I wish I didn't see it.
I got to say, I'll just stop you for.
My head.
Yeah, I can't either. And when you see the blood pouring out of his neck like that, clearly somebody knew what they were doing or got super lucky. But I'm thinking to myself, this can't be real. This can't be real. I can't be watching this. And there's 3 versions of it. We've seen 3 versions of that video, and it's horrifying. Absolutely horrifying. I had a teacher back in the day, Steve, who used to say to me, "You don't need to swim in the dumpster to know what it smells like." And that's a lesson I've kind of lived with my whole life, right? He's like, you know what? I understand why people say no, let them see, like Jackie Kennedy did. I get that. I really do get it. I'm not saying it's not a valid point. I'm just trying to explain where I'm coming from with that. You know what I mean, Steve?
Yeah, and I'm with you the same way. I mean, I'm a hunter, and I agree with you. Somebody knew what they were doing, because he was done before he left the stage.
Yep.
He was lifeless. I mean, I think it might have got his neck too.
I think that's what I saw. I think it nicked the artery on the neck. I think that's exactly what happened.
No, I mean his spine.
Oh yeah. It's horrific, absolutely horrific. And think about this for a second, right? Imagine if they had high definition video footage on cell phones when JFK was shot. Right?
Oh man.
Because we all know what we've seen. And actually, there was a great article in Life magazine at the time it happened, or a year after it happened. I have the special commemorative edition that I bought when I was in Texas. And they take the Zapruder film and they go frame by frame by frame. And they actually have the original article they did with Zapruder when they're watching the footage with the FBI, the Secret Service, and everybody, and how they all recoiled when they saw that. And that was on low definition 1960s handheld cranked camera. Can you imagine if everybody had a cell phone during that?
Oh, yeah. And then, hey, one other quick thing. Just, this is the world we're in, and I've talked to you before many times, and you know me, and I'm a Trump supporter. I had stickers on my truck, had pro-life, pro-God, pro-gun on my car, my wife's car. I've taken them all off because, unfortunately, you have that on your vehicle and you're a target.
Mm-hmm.
Same with my house. I've taken it down, not because I don't support it or the First Amendment. I just don't want to have to shoot somebody because they're coming after me.
My neighbor said something funny. Apparently, after October 7th, his wife was concerned about safety, just generally. And he goes, "Sweetie, who do you think they're going to come after first? Us or the guy who lives next door with the American flag, the Israeli flag, and the big sign that says Talk Radio 570 KVI?"
Yeah, right. I mean, my American flag's still up.
Right.
The American flag's still up. But, unfortunately, that's the world we live in. You're targeted for your conservative beliefs. Nobody wants to have the discussion. They just want to get angry.
Exactly. And I think right now, that's natural. It's one of the 7 stages of grief, right? To be angry. I'm furious right now. I'm furious. And you know what's really hurting me is that, like I said earlier in the show, the Post-Millennial, the outlet that I write for, has a lot to do with Human Events, which is another outlet, and has a lot to do with Charlie Kirk's show and ownership group and Real America's Voice and all that. My friends my friends are in pain. I see the internal channels they're all crying, they're all in pain, right? My friends are in pain. And that makes you want to take up arms and defend your friends and everything. But, one of them said today, we're going to do an article, everybody write down your thoughts, everybody write down your tributes. And I'm still trying to figure out exactly what to do next. I'm really liking this idea of Make America Debate Again. I'm really liking it. I have to figure out what to do with that. But, Steve, appreciate the call, appreciate the conversation, appreciate you being part of the show. You want to be part of the show, you give us a call or text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. This text here from the 206, Ari, you don't want to believe we are in a civil war. Look to the past. What happened before the Red Communist Revolution in China? What we have been experiencing for the past 15 to 20 years is a communist revolution disguised as a save our democracy. This is more dangerous than you realize. I think where I disagree with you, 206, I don't disagree with you on anything you just said. I don't disagree with you. The question is, what form does that take and how do you fight back? I think that's where we disagree. I think that may be our point of disagreement. I think that may be it. Got time for one more call before the break. We go to Doug in Spanaway on the Warrior Injury Law Studio line. Doug, what's going on?
Well, it's kind of 3 things, but the first thing is you keep saying about having the debate. I mean, there is no debate. I mean, you're debating either mentally ill people, stupid people, or people that are sick in the head. I mean, so what's the debate? I mean,
Doug? Did we lose you, Doug?
sick.
Oh, there you are. Doug's back. So, Doug, I lost part of what you said. You broke up a little bit, but I'm hearing what you're saying. The thing is, what you have to understand is, for all the lunatics we see online, so the other day, yesterday, when Israel bombed Doha, when they bombed Hamas in Doha, right? So when they bombed Hamas in Doha, I made a comment because one of the Saudi princes or whatever made some stupid comment like we condemn Israel. Oh, no, it was one of the Qatari princes. And I said, why were you harboring Hamas? Every single comment on my comment was psychotic. Death to Zionists, you name it, everything. But then when I looked at the accounts, they're all bots. They're all little bot accounts. I'm not saying there aren't psychopaths out there, but I think is social media has ruined this where we think there's a lot more of them than there actually are. Doug, appreciate the call. Appreciate you being part of the show. When we come back, my friends, breaking news, breaking developments on the assassination of Charlie Kirk. We'll have that for you right after the commercial break. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Welcome back to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI, where we have continuing live coverage of the assassination of Charlie Kirk at a college campus in Utah. And we got some breaking news for you right now.
Talk Radio 570 KVI, breaking news on the Ari Hoffman Show.
FBI Director Kash Patel has just posted over on X, the subject in custody for the assassination of Charlie Kirk has been released after an interrogation by law enforcement. He added, our investigation continues and we will continue to release information in interest of transparency. So as they were saying before, it was a person of interest, not necessarily the shooter. Now, we don't know any more than that right now. That is all we know. We know that there is nobody at this point in custody for the assassination of Charlie Kirk. What we also know is that this person is still at large, whoever they are. We're starting to see more and more videos on social media of somebody scrambling over rooftops on campus. Mike, it's not just the one you sent me or Phil sent me. There are a few of them now out there where it looks like people immediately pivoted the cell phones to up top on the rooftop campuses.
Yeah, I've seen at least a half dozen different ones. Like when we first saw that one that Phil sent us, it was the only one. And Phil even said, Phil, host of The Morning Ride, by the way, which you can listen to from 5 to 9 a.m. every morning on KVI. But no, he had said, like, this is raw, this is new, this is uncorroborated, don't know if it's fake or doctored or AI'd or whatever. And at that point, it was breaking. But since then, as I just said, we've seen a half dozen more of them from different angles, from different perspectives, all with that same figure running across the rooftop.
So there will be more on that when we have it. When we have it, we'll bring it to you. And I'll just remind everybody, and this is not a plug. This is I'm going to get you that information as soon as I can. So I'm covering the West Coast news for Turning Point for the Post Millennial tonight. I was just asked to be on tonight, Mike. I can't imagine why. So that means I'm going to have this news as soon as I get it, as soon as I get anything, I will share it on my social media channels. Ari Hoffman Official on Facebook and Instagram, The Hofffather over at Twitter. Also, just want to remind everybody that tonight, Pastor Russell Johnson from the Pursuit Northwest Church is having a candlelight vigil, Pray for America event at Westlake Park at 7:30 p.m. tonight in downtown Seattle. So I know a lot of people are going. I know I'm going. I know Jonathan Cho's going. And I hope to see you there if you can make it. And I hope that the protesters don't come tonight. I know some people want the fight. Nah, not tonight. Not tonight. This should be an event where we're focusing on a person was killed. 2 kids lost their father. A young wife lost her husband. A guy who felt like he was on top of the world probably, had everything going for him. It was stolen from him. Absolutely stolen from him. We can speculate all we want on who the shooter is. We won't know who the shooter is until they're in custody. But thank God President Trump is running the FBI. I want you to consider for a second, if God forbid this had happened when Joe Biden or Kamala Harris was president, if there was a manifesto, we never would have seen it. If there was any information on the shooter, it would have been hidden. It would have been hidden as deep and dark as they possibly could. We're going to see everything. We're going to see everything. And they're going to find this guy. There were too many eyes on what was going on. Somebody's got the cell phone footage out there. They're analyzing closed-circuit TV from the campus. However, this was a pro. This was clearly a pro. They knew exactly when to fire. They knew exactly what to fire at. If you've seen that horrific video, and I hope that you haven't, this was done by a professional. Now, the problem is, if this professional knows how to get away also. We're still looking for a guy who killed his 3 daughters here in Washington. Still haven't found him yet. He was a professional. That's the concern. Except right now, people keep drawing a comparison to Malcolm X or Martin Luther King Jr. That's what this is for our time. That's what this is for the conservative movement in the U.S. That's what this is for the Republican Party. This is somebody who was a thought leader. This is a person who was making America great again. This is a person who did everything he possibly could to get President Trump elected. This is a guy who did everything he possibly could to get as many college kids as he could in the room at these Turning Point conventions. Mike, with all the good and the bad of Turning Point when I used to go to these conventions, sometimes we get every interview we want. What did I always say afterwards, though? I always said the same thing afterwards, even when I had a better time than others. I always said, seeing those kids is inspiring. Every single time I did. And that's because of him. It was his idea. You realize at 18 years old, I know what I was doing at 18 years old. I was watching American Pie movies and zipping around in my car and stuff. At 18 years old, Charlie Kirk said, I want to make America better. I want to fix the conservative movement. I want to fix the Republican Party. I want to found my own party. He basically founded his own Republican Party. You wouldn't believe the scale and the scope of Turning Point USA at their conventions when I've been to them. My God. Tens of thousands of people. I think the last one I was at, Mike, I think it was, 40,000 attendees or something like that? You wouldn't believe it. And here's something else. Think about these college kids for a second. When you were a college kid and you had spring break or winter break or whatever it is, did you choose to go to a political convention? No. He managed to find a way to make it rock and roll. He managed to find a way to make it fun. I know what I was doing. For spring break, we didn't really have spring break. We had Passover break. I was home doing Seder with my family. Very exciting. But these kids come to the conventions instead.
Well, lest we forget that infamous first Turning Point USA convention that you went to, you were being helped out by then promotions intern young Zach. But remember, he was there anyway, on his own dime, with his then girlfriend, now wife.
Yes.
And they were there for funsies because they wanted to be there. It just happened to be he was in a position to be able to help you out that time. But like, I remember he was so excited going to it, and the energy of the youth movement. And yeah, it was just really exciting to see that level of excitement, because us here at KVI, we're kind of, salty old dogs. To see like a young, excited conservative was like a breath of fresh air when that dude came to us.
Oh, yeah. In fact, Mike, I don't think I ever told you the story. I forgot about it till you just reminded me of it. Towards the end of convention, when I was packing up the gear and stuff, I said to Zach, who was basically by my side the entire time, I said, I'm so sorry that you paid for this convention and you missed out on all the speeches and everything. He goes, are you kidding me? I got a front row seat to every speaker. I got to shake everybody's hand. I got all these stories. I met all these people. We have stories of a lot of people we met at this thing.
All the after parties.
Holy cow. But at the same time, you have young kids like Zach and his wife who said, I want to spend my vacation going to a political convention because it's fun. I want to be involved in politics. And now look what young Zach does. He's the producer for a political talk show on KVI. Charlie Kirk inspired an army to go debate people, an army to go discuss politics, an army to run for office. How many people begged for his endorsement? How many kids are involved in politics now because of him? I know a whole bunch of them out at University of Washington. Charlie Kirk inspired an army to do good, to promote traditional American values, to promote America first, to promote freedom, to promote peace through strength on the world stage. That's what Charlie Kirk did. We come back, more news, more of the latest updates on the assassination of Charlie Kirk from Turning Point USA on a college campus in Utah. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Welcome back to the Ari Hoffman Show. We're continuing our live coverage of the assassination of Turning Point USA founder and CEO Charlie Kirk at a college campus. I saw this from MSNBC's public relations. Earlier in the show, we played you everything awful they said today. And there was a lot of awful. There was some horrible, absolutely horrible things. And they apologized for one of them. One of them. Here's what they said. Statement from MSNBC President Rebecca Cutler. During our breaking news coverage of the shooting of Charlie Kirk, Matthew Dowd made comments that were inappropriate, insensitive, and unacceptable. We apologize for his statements, as has he. There's no place for violence in America, political or otherwise. Well, you want to meddle? How about Kate Turr, who you had speaking on your network? Because I don't think we played this clip yet.
Yeah, we're showing, by the way, our affiliate in Utah and the aftermath of the shooting. You could see people running away pretty quickly, as you would imagine they would do at gunshots. The FBI director, Kash Patel, has weighed in on this. He just tweeted the following. We're closely monitoring reports of the tragic shooting involving Charlie Kirk at Utah Valley University. Our thoughts are with Charlie, his loved ones, and everyone affected. Agents will be on the scene quickly, and the FBI stands in full support of the ongoing response and the investigation. Charlie Kirk is a divisive figure, polarizing, lightning rod, whatever term you want to use. Why?
Well, he's one of MAGA's most prominent voices online. He hosts a near daily podcast. He opines on almost everything. He's been very closely aligned with the president since his initial run for office in 2015, 2016. And his ties to Trump really elevated his own brand. He was really quite young as an activist when the president launched his initial campaign. And he has kind of ridden along with MAGA since 2016 and built up a massive brand of his own. His group has brought in tons and tons of money.
So, yeah, you're basically saying it's his fault because he was divisive, polarizing, and a lightning rod? I mean, talk about victim blaming. That's what MSNBC was doing all day. God, it can make you sick. It can make you actually sick just listening to that kind of garbage they were spewing over there all day. Unbelievable, but yet so not. This is why nobody watches MSNBC anymore. This is why people are tuning out of the mainstream media and why they were watching Charlie Kirk. Crazy stuff. Absolutely crazy stuff. I know everybody's got their theories on what happened. We won't know anything until there's actually a suspect in custody. And that's what we're waiting for right now because the manhunt is going on. If you're just joining us, you may have missed the news that the person of interest they had in custody has now been released. And FBI Director Kash Patel has announced that they are still searching for another suspect. A lot of you are texting into the show that you're worried about me. I'm honored, I'm flattered, and I appreciate the concern, guys. But here's the thing. That's what they want us to do. They want us to be silent. They want to scare us into submission. They want to say, oh, yeah, it could happen to you, too. I've seen some comments like that already. Guys, the second we stop saying what we believe in, the second we stop talking about what we believe in, they win. That's when they win. What is the term terrorism? To terrorize, to scare people. They want to make you not go about your normal life. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to scare people like me and Ben Shapiro and Jonathan Cho and Brandy Cruz. They don't want us saying this kind of stuff. That's what this person was hoping to do. I don't know their motives yet. I don't know what they did, but they were trying to silence a voice. And what they may have done right now is somebody's galvanized by this, and somebody's galvanized to go have these debates. Somebody's galvanized to go on these college campuses. We don't know what comes out of this yet. It's still developing. We don't know. We do not know. What we know right now is that a whole bunch of people are hurting. A whole bunch of people are hurting. I haven't even looked at my cell phone for the last 3 hours. Haven't even looked at it. It keeps buzzing in front of me right now with people asking for lots of stuff. Lots of stuff going on right now. Everybody's hurting from this. Everybody's hurting from this right now. World leaders are reacting to this because an 18-year-old kid said he wanted to change the country he was living in, wanted to change the world he was living in, an 18-year-old kid. And he managed to do this in what? So let's see, 28, 12, 13 years? And Mike, when was he really rolling? Let's see, I've been going to his conventions for at least the last 4 or 5 years. Charlie Kirk's been at this. I'd say he was a big deal at least 7 or 8 years ago. So he did all that in what, a dozen years? A dozen years. What are we doing with ourselves? How many listeners of the show are out there right now who are inspired to do something right now? You're going to have talking heads on all night. And I actually recommend you watch the interviews with people who are friends of Charlie, because then you get to know the actual Charlie. I met him once, and it had a profound impact on me. I heard him speak another time. I still quote him, still talk about that. It's, there's no words. There's no words, and I'm a radio talk show host. There's no words because somebody was stolen from us today. A voice of our movement was stolen from us today. But there's an opportunity here for more voices to come up. Voices from Turning Point USA, people who are inspired by Charlie. There's opportunities for more voices to step up now, and maybe they'll be inspired to do so and say, this person tried to silence us, tried to silence Charlie Kirk. I'm not going to be silenced by that. We're going to step up, and we're going to talk as much as we possibly can about this stuff. We're going to talk about the hot button issues that nobody else wants to talk about. You can't self-censor. They want us to self-censor Judeo-Christian values. They want us to self-censor the things we believe in. That's not how we roll over here. We're talk radio. And if you disagree with us, you give us a call and we'll talk it out. We go to the Warrior Injury Law Studio line, take a call from Chris in Bonnie Lake. Chris, what's going on?
Hey, buddy. Well, I hope I can get through this. I think the one thing that everybody on our side, on the right, needs to take from this and to expose this from every rooftop, this is who the left is. Pure and simple. They have just put up a billboard for everyone to see. Low-life murdering scum. This is who the left is, and they're not hiding it.
Yeah, and I think that's I think that's the problem. You know what we used to have in politics? It used to be the uniparty. And I don't say that talking about MAGA and the left, but it used to be, at least they would go out and have drinks together. With the advent of social media, it's about insulting each other, and I don't think they have drinks together anymore, which is why almost nothing gets done. And I think there was something to be said for when we all agreed that America was a good thing. We just disagreed on how much money we should spend on this or how much money we should spend on that. Now we literally have people in our government who think America is a bad thing, and they're trying to get rid of it. And that's what we have right now.
You know, the number one thing that most people will not cue in on this is that the destruction for free speech that this one single act has accomplished. This is their plan. They don't want anybody out there speaking out against them, or maybe we'll take you out too.
Yep. That's the message they're trying to send. But we're not going to hear it, Chris, because you know what? We're going to keep speaking out. Appreciate the call. Wishing you all the best, buddy. Appreciate you being part of the show. You want to be part of the show, you give us a text at 206-421-5757. Richard over here on the text line says, whatever story you've got for the good news giveaway tonight, better make it a double. No, on second thought, just leave the whole bottle. Richard, I got you covered. When we come back, only good news to wrap up the show. Your good news giveaway, your good news headlines. Because even on a day like today, there is good news. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. It is time to feel good as we wrap up a very emotional episode of the Ari Hoffman Show right here on Talk Radio 570 KVI. And even in a day like today, there's always good news. I didn't know what I was going to do for the good news segment today. I really had no idea. My wife saved my bacon. Yeah, that's the Jewish guy saying it. Literally did. She reminded me of a clip, an interview that Charlie Kirk did. And I've got a story to go with it. Charlie Kirk was talking about on his show not too long ago about how all the big news happens on the Sabbath. He's got his phone turned off on the Sabbath. Mike knows this all too well from me. I come back online. Holy cow, what happened? Give a listen to Charlie.
Be honest, we did not even know what happened until it announced. Now, I had my phone off because of Shabbat, but now that I'm looking back at text, I was getting
Everything really big happens on Shabbat, like the Trump assassination.
Trump getting shot. No,
it's the other Trump assassination.
No, exactly. Yeah. Don't get me started. So it's and so I was getting some, I like 3 hours ahead of time, I was starting to get some hey, game on, but I didn't know because my phone was off and I have no regrets.
He was talking about Israel bombing Iran. He was talking about the U.S. bombing Iran. That's what he was talking about at the time. But, yeah, I mean, I missed a lot of news because my phone is off for Sabbath. I had to go running down to the synagogue the day Trump got shot. I had to go running down to the synagogue to find the security guard. Dude, what happened? He goes, I figured you'd be coming down here. I know that feeling all too well, but I didn't know Charlie was doing that. Charlie was doing the Sabbath every single week where he turns his phone off. And you want to do something in honor of Charlie? It is the most restorative thing to take a break from technology for one day a week. It really, really is. This is not me proselytizing. This is do what Charlie did. You know how refreshed I feel coming back online after that? You get to talk to your friends, have a little bit too much scotch over the weekend, have actual conversations with people. I didn't know Charlie was doing that. A regret that I have. So I go to the Turning Point convention every year. And one year I came a little late. I think I came in on Sunday, not Saturday night or not Friday, whatever it was. And my buddies from a Jewish group that always goes to Turning Point, they go, dude, where were you, man? And I go, what are you talking about? And they said, we had Shabbos dinner with Charlie Kirk. I said, what are you talking about? And he go, well, you were invited and you should have been here. I said, okay, but I was home with my family. What happened? And they said, Charlie Kirk came here. And we were sitting down to our Sabbath dinner, and we told Turning Point USA. We didn't figure they told anybody. Charlie Kirk and Jack Posobiec came walking in and had gefilte fish, had some deli, and they had Sabbath with us. They had Shabbos with us. I'm really, really regretting the fact that I didn't fly in early that year. I'm really, really sad about it. I really, really am. But that's amazing to know. So you want to do something in honor of Charlie aside from the debating and having the conversations. Turn your phone off one day a week, people. Turn your phone off. But here's something else from the show today, from the texts, from the phone calls, even from people who disagreed with Charlie. I hope Charlie knew how many people loved him. I really hope he knew that. Not because they're adoring fans and they're screaming his name, but I hope he knew how many people loved him. Don't wait until your loved ones are gone to tell them how much they mean to you. If there's someone out there you admire, tell them, send them a message, spread the light, spread the positivity in Charlie's memory. Make sure you do that. I think Charlie knew how much we all loved him. He's looking down on us right now. And if he didn't know it before, he knows it now. Before we go, your chance to win a couple prizes. I'm not going to say fantabulous on a day like today. But we're giving away a $50 Daniel's Broiler gift card. Check out danielsbroiler.com to reserve a table, place your takeout delivery order, and more. We're also giving away a copy of 7 Steps to a Successful Retirement by Brian Evans of Madrona Financial and CPAs. Visit madronafinancial.com for more information. Discover how you can create a rooted wealth plan today. All you have to do in order to win these prizes today is be caller number 10 at 206-421-5757. Life goes on, my friends. Life goes on. Be caller number 10 at 206-421-5757. Mike is standing by to take your calls. Looking for caller number 10 to win the $50 Daniel's Broiler gift card and 7 Steps to a Successful Retirement by Brian Evans of Madrona Financial and CPAs. And because life goes on, we'll be back tomorrow. Mike managed to find, through the miracle of technology, the interview I did with Charlie. We'll have that for you tomorrow, plus so much more and the latest updates for you. Kiss your loved ones. Give them a hug. Make sure you tell them you love them. You've been listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI.